Hi, it's me, Sarah Sawing. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I think a lot of modern magicians are confused about. This alleged distinction between invocation and evocation. Now, I was first introduced to this misunderstanding, I would call it, by Mr. Donald Michael Craig in his book, Modern Magic, 11 Lessons in the High Magical Arts. This is my 1992 replaced copy. My original copy was in 1988. I guess there's a newer edition which has 12 lessons instead of 11 lessons. Anyways, in lesson number 9, he criticizes this idea that invocation and evocation are being used as synonyms by a lot of ceremonial magicians, whether they be of the Wicca tradition or the Hermetic tradition, and I disagree with that. I think he has a misunderstanding of these terms. So he's referring to mainly in lesson 9 grimoires such as the Goetia section of the Lemegeton. And in that text, it definitely uses invocation to call forth these entities, and I think that you can use invocation, evocation basically as synonyms, but there is a slight difference. Now they're both based upon the same Latin root, vocare, and I'm using a classical Latin rather than ecclesiastical Latin pronunciation. Vocare means to call forth, and the preposition in, sometimes it means negation, but in this case it means into, just the same as in English. And then with evocation, the preposition at the beginning means to call forth something from somewhere else. So the preposition in, into, the preposition meaning from. So really it's a distinction between location. So when you're invocating, you're invoking something into something else. So from one location into another location. So when Mr. Donald Michael Craig is talking about the dangers of this invocation, which he basically says is the same as channeling, he's referring to a specific situation where you're invoking allegedly entities into yourself. And in that case, I agree with him. If you're channeling energies and you're not prepared, especially if you're dealing with goetic entities, which are usually interpreted as being somewhat sinister, malign, evil, then yeah, there's potential dangers with that. Versus if you're invoking, like, the god forms or angelic entities, there's less of a danger associated with that. Now, personally, I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't believe these entities are necessarily real. I think these entities are aspects of our own psychology, our own subconscious. That's what I personally believe. Just because I think extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and supernaturalism just doesn't have extraordinary evidence for its extraordinary claim. So I tend to look at this stuff naturally, as skeptically as I possibly can, although I have a great interest in it. Now with evocation, you're calling forth something from somewhere else. So in evocation, I think with the Goetia of the Lemegeton, is this idea of you are either evoking angelic higher entities, good entities from the heavenly realms, or you're evoking more sinister entities from the infernal realms. Although I think based on, like, say, Aleister Crowley's Introduction to the Goetia, translated by Samuel Little McGregor Mathers, he interprets this as aspects of your subconscious, and I tend to agree with that. In that case, you would be evoking them from inside yourself. So in that sense, it's almost the same as invocation, evocation. you're invoking them into yourself, either from deep inside yourself or from outside into yourself. So I think that's really the difference. The only thing I might add to it is the legal definition. So if you're in a court, to invoke a document means you're bringing it from another court case into the current court case, and to evoke means you're bringing it from a lower court into a higher court. So I think sometimes evocation also has this idea of like, the internal, you're bringing it from a lower court to a higher court, so you're bringing it from the lower self into the higher self. Again, that's metaphorical. So I think when we're using terms, we have to decide whether we're going to use them literally or metaphorically. And we need to determine whether we're seeing these entities as natural or supernatural. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. But in my practice, and I've been doing goetic magic for maybe only a decade longer than this guy, since the 1980s, late 1980s till now. And I use the terms invocation, evocation, essentially synonymously, although again, into or from, I use those distinctions in regards to it, but they're both wohare, they're both a calling forth, in wohare or wohare. So anyways, I hope that helps you guys. Let me know in the comments.